Hey guys, Steve here with the strategy session for Monday, August 11th. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you were able to watch the stock market outlook video this morning. In that video, we talked about potentially having put in a near or short-term bottom and looking for possibly a retest of this 1950 level, which would also be the underside of the 50-day moving average. So in the S&P 500, if we look at that, in the futures, if we look at those areas, you could see today we actually topped out at 1941. So we're about 8 points off of that level. But what I'm also looking at here now is this trend line, this downward trend line that we're coming into. So maybe that's, there's definitely some resistance ahead. Let's put it that way. There's this downtrend line, there's the 50-day moving average, and there's this previous consolidation support. And even if you look back, there's right here, there's this low too, right at 1941. So definitely a lot of stuff that we have to work through as far as moving forward. I think I discussed this in the video. I think if we can get some sideways action for a week or two, that would be beneficial. That we could potentially then have a breakout above the 50-day moving average and above that downtrend line. But for right now, I'm not looking for us to go back to the highs. Although if you do look at the weekly chart, you can see we're basically bouncing right off of the trend line that we've had drawn in for a while now. So again, I'm looking more for some sideways action, eventually a breakout of that, and a resumption of the trend higher is really the way I'm looking at everything right now. As far as our positions go, we did enter 2 new trades today, so let's take a look at those first. RSG, Republic Services Group, we discussed this over on the weekend update. We had this nice breakout on Friday, and we entered at the open today, which of course was 38.76, and we closed lower on the day. But like I said, entries are one thing, exits are really what matters. So right now our exit is slated for 36.84, so we would have a break of the 50-day moving average, the uptrend line, and this previous consolidation lows. That would basically be enough to trigger the exit. But as you can see on the weekly chart, we had a nice breakout from this big weekly consolidation, and now we have another nice breakout from this small daily consolidation. So setting up well. Whether it actually works out for us or not, that's another story, and that remains to be seen. Tesoro is the other position we entered today. This was even, a worse entry than RSG. But again, we had this breakout we had right here, this weekly consolidation, and then the last, 5 or 6 weeks, we were consolidating right in this area, which represents this box in here. On the daily chart, earnings had passed, and one thing that I had liked with Tesoro was that we had this string of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of higher prices. Even 6 or 7 we can go for, and then and that was during when the market was pulling back. So this was relatively strong compared to the market, and that was one of the reasons I liked the trade. We finally had the breakout that we were looking for on Thursday. We had the resumption Friday. For a little bit more of a push higher, a little bit more of a confirmation. And again, we entered at today's open, which was 63. Where was the open? 63.43. And of course, we closed at 61.76. So again, not the greatest entry, but as long as we remain above this 57.25 area, that's really our line in the sand to exit this trade, because again, we'd be breaking this trend line, the 50-day moving average, and previous consolidation lows. Our other positions that we've been in for a while, Apple up 1.32%, came right into that 50-day moving average and is now bouncing. So again, our stop's still here at 93, and hopefully, we can get a move up into the $100 level, and then this would be our next, this 94.25 area would be our next trailing stop level. ADM also moved higher nicely today. The next stop level is going to be 46.50, about right in here, 46.35. But what we need to do is we just need to wait a couple more days and allow that 50-day moving average to proceed higher. And then we're going to basically put our stop right at 46.35. So that will be a stop that will be moved in the next few days, barring any unforeseen crashes. But like I said, that puts us at a good position to lock in some more gains. AMT was looking good today, and then it didn't look so good. So our stop is still down here at 90.83. Next level that I'm looking at would be here at this 92.16. Again, I'd really like to see that 50-day moving average kind of start ticking up higher and be able to set that stop at 92.16, and again have that be below the 50-day moving average. We had this breakout again from this little consolidation, and this is I forget exactly what kind of candlestick pattern this is called, but it's almost like a gravestone doji, but it's worse. I forget, and off the top of my head I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, what happened here was we opened here, right? We opened at 98.52. We moved as high as 99.50, and then that price was rejected. Selling ensued, and we closed at 98.03. So that's usually typically a reversal signal. So we could very well get a move back into this 94 level. But let's see how it reacts, because it has been strong. Maybe today was just some profit taking. So I don't read too much into one day, but that's typically a reversal signal. APD, again, still consolidating, moved back down to this breakout level. 50-day moving average is moving higher, but for right now, our stop is still 126.92. Again, not really much to do in this yet. Eventually, if this will move higher, this could be our next stop level at 130, 135. EQR, really just consolidating. We've had a couple of days of just sideways action. I tried to break out a little bit today from this small consolidation pattern, but it's close to the 50-day. Right now, our stop is still 63.16. Eventually, if we can get some movement higher, we would be able to move that stop to 64.09. EXpedia, again, this one looked really good this morning. Still closed, up 1.68% is not a bad day. It was up, I think, at one point like 3.5%. So I'm looking at this now as another small consolidation. Okay, you can see these tails basically right at the top. So I'm looking at something like that. For right now, our stop is still 77.42. Eventually, if we can get maybe a breakout from this little box area, we can move it to 79.44, and then eventually, hopefully, to 82.55. So you can see how we're really just trailing stops higher. We're not really predicting where we're going. It's just really about managing risk and managing stop levels. And the last one, Fidelity. Again, this came back last week. Again, looked good today, but closed lower. This is a gravestone doji, where it basically closes at the open after a nice substantial move higher. So for right now, we basically confirmed that this level, in my opinion, is the area that would need to be broken. So this 54.71 stop, I do feel is in a good position. But again, if we can start getting a move higher, we would be able to marginally move our stop up to this 54.89, and then we're wherever we see fit after that. With today's action, I look through the watch list, and the one position that we are going to enter for tomorrow is H&R Block. We talked about this in the weekend update. This again is a little bit of a different type of setup in that we're coming back fairly controlled, it looks like, back into support. Okay, this 50-day moving average being support, so we're trending lower, but again, it's in a controlled. We put this little consolidation pattern in, and now we're breaking higher. So with this breakout higher, I think we can enter a position. Again, we might see some resistance here at the 33 level, but I think risk reward is a good position to enter. We're actually going to loosen our stop a little bit to 31.64. Okay, and we will enter this at tomorrow's open. But again, same principles apply. We're just looking at this area here as our consolidation and a move higher. So, and again, this is the trend line that I'm looking at right through there. So again, we'd have to break the 50-day, these lows, and trendline support. But I think this is a good position. And if you look at the weekly chart, we have this nice long weekly consolidation, kind of trickled back into it, and now it looks like we're moving higher. So again, even on the weekly chart, I would say that this level, has some substance to it, because it does represent the resistance from the previous consolidation. So again, we will be entering H&R block at the open tomorrow, and putting a stop here at 3160. That's really it for tonight, guys. Not much going on as far as the market. We did, like I said, we had a nice move higher. Unfortunately, we closed closer to the lows than I would have liked. But again, still a solid move off of this bottom that we kind of anticipated. And now, like I said, if we can get some movement sideways and then potentially break out again, if you look at the weekly chart, I think, there's no reason to think that we would not resume prices moving higher at this point. But, we're right at a good inflection point. So, I think it's going to need a couple of weeks to work itself out. And hopefully, like I said, we move higher, because we are positioned long only in the portfolio. So with that said, guys, if you haven't already, please view that stock market outlook video that was put out this morning. Subscribe, like, and follow me on Twitter, StockTwits, and Google+. And like I said, if you're somebody who would like the videos emailed to you nightly, you can definitely sign up on the blog for the nightly recap for that newsletter. So again, have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you tomorrow.